Today I would like to explain about topic 5, production and cost theory. Okay, so in this particular topic you will learn on how producer produce goods and services. So for you to be able to understand better for this topic, you need to assume yourself as a producer or a seller, so that it's easier for you to understand the mindset of a seller. Alright, so first of all, let's go with the definition. Production means a process of transforming resources, or the other name for resources is input, or we call also as factors of production, and the short form for factors of production is FOPs. Okay, into output or goods and services to satisfy the needs of humans, and also at the same time to gain profit. So the main objective of a producer is to gain profit, but at the same time they must produce something that is needed by the buyer. Okay, and I already mentioned it to you when I teach chapter 1, topic 1. There are resources in the world that is having a problem of scarcity. So these resources, we use the combination of these resources, which is the land, labor, capital and entrepreneur, we use to produce goods and services. Okay, this is the raw material: land, labor, capital and entrepreneur. The combination of this raw material, we will produce the goods and services that is needed by the people, okay, by the buyer. So the production process is the process of transforming all these four resources in order to produce the goods and services that is needed by the buyer. Okay, it is a win-win situation, because the producer or the seller is producing something that is needed by the buyer, and when the buyer buy the product from the seller, they will the producer or the seller will gain profit. The ultimate objective of a producer is to gain profit. So in order to gain profit, they must produce the goods and services needed by the buyer. Okay, so next, let's go with the definition of all the factors of production here. We have 4 factors of production here. So the definition, first of all, in terms of land. Land means all natural resources. This is the gift of the nature bestowed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, okay, our creator, to humankind to be utilized. So this thing we don't produce because it is already available in the world. For example, the land, forest, water, all natural resources, petroleum, the coal, the anything inside the world that we did not produce, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala produced on our behalf. Next is labor. Another resources are labor. Labor is the physical and mental talent which has been used in production process, because the land, natural resources ni, they cannot be produced, they cannot move on their own to be utilized. They need human capability to use and utilize the natural resources to produce something. So here's come the role of the labor to use their mental and physical talent to utilize the natural resources here. So all factors of production has relation between each other, and we need all 4 factors of production to produce goods and services. Kalau ada 2 je, land dengan labor je, tak akan jadi barangan goods and services. They must have all 4. Next, we go for fact capital. I already explained in chapter topic 1 here. Just a recap again so that you can recall back. What does it mean by capital? So capital is production aids. So in accounting, capital means money. But in economy, it is a production aids, meaning that machine to produce good, barang untuk menghasilkan barangan. It is also considered as continuation of work for obtaining wealth. Okay, and next we have entrepreneur. Entrepreneur is an innovator of a business organisation. Senang cerita, dia adalah usahawan yang know how to produce goods and services. Okay, the role of entrepreneur is they manage the other factors of production, which is the land, labour and capital. They utilize it through their knowledge, and they are the one who knows precisely how to produce goods and services. Okay, macam contoh saya before this, if we want to produce pisang goreng pisang, right? First of all, in terms of factors of production, what we need in terms of land, natural resources, we need pisang, tepung, telur, and all the ingredients you use to produce goreng pisang. Okay, second one, you need labor, because pisang tu dia tak boleh kopek diri sendiri, diri dia sendiri masuk dalam tepung golek-golek, tak boleh. So somebody need to do that. Okay, so here's the role of labor. You will use their mental and physical talent. Okay, a labor must be mentally and physically able to do job, then dia baru consider as labor. Okay, physical and mental talent. Okay, this labor will be the one who will do all the tasks, potong pisang, kopek pisang, goreng pisang, and so on. Okay, and the third one, we must have capital to produce goreng pisang. Okay, you tak ada gerai, takkan you nak goreng tepi jalan macam tu je, tak ada, dia mesti ada gerai. Okay, so gerai tu adalah lokasi dia, the premise, the firm, okay, for the business to be conducted. And then nak goreng pisang, of course nak menggoreng you kena ada kuali. So this is also the capital. Tong, gas, sudip, that is all the capital needed. The production aids, maksudnya bantuan untuk kita menghasilkan goreng pisang tersebut. And last sekali, kena ada entrepreneur, because entrepreneur ni ada knowledge of how to produce edible goreng pisang yang boleh dijual. Sebab entrepreneur ni tahu pisang apa yang perlu kita guna, level masak pisang tu, and then nak goreng berapa lama, campuran tepung berapa banyak kepada telur berapa banyak, kepada garam berapa banyak. Entrepreneur yang tahu. Apa beza entrepreneur and labor? Entrepreneur is also human, labor is also human, tapi senang cerita untuk senang you faham, labor means employee, pekerja, while entrepreneur adalah employer. Not everybody can become an entrepreneur. Most of us is an employee. That's why we work for others. We don't perform our own business because we don't have that specific knowledge as an entrepreneur to produce our own goods and services, to perform our own business. So not everybody can be an entrepreneur. Okay, so basically with these four factors of production, land, labor, capital, entrepreneur, we can produce the goods and services that is needed by the human, by the buyer lah. Okay, whatever types of goods, dia mesti dihasilkan menggunakan these four factors of production. Okay, so again, recaps. Production is a process of transforming inputs into output. So input yang ni lah, land, labor, capital, entrepreneur, our factors of production, our resources. This is our input, and goods and services will be our output. Okay, menggunakan input, which is land, labor, capital, entrepreneur, to produce output, which is the goods and services. Kalau dalam case explanation saya tadi, the input is land, labor, capital, entrepreneur, the output will be the goreng pisang. Okay, inputs are the factors of production such as the land, labor, capital, entrepreneur, whereas the output are the goods and services produced from the utilization of the input. Okay, and then we have the production function, and this production function refers to the relationship between the output and input. It is very simple. Function for production F P equals to K and L. FQ, sorry. The function to produce output, nama lain dia adalah quantity. Okay. Kenapa I cannot draw? I'm not sure what happened here. Kejap ya. Okay, this is output, which is the goods and services, or services and depends on what type of good or what type of you want to produce from the combination of land, labor, capital, entrepreneur. And KL, this is the input. What is K? K stand for capital, L is labor. Kenapa bukan C? In economy, C means cost. So we don't want to use the same alphabet to represent two types of things. That's why K here represent capital, while L for labor. But you see, I say that to produce goods we have K for capital, right? L for labor, we have land and also entrepreneur. Why? In our production function, we only have capital and labor. Kenapa tak letak land and entrepreneur? Okay, here come the assumption. Although in real life we know to produce output, we must came from input, which is the four lah: land, labor, capital, and satu lagi entrepreneur. Barulah kita boleh produce output. But this is normally what happened here. To produce output, the production function is we only assume that we will use two type of input, which is capital and also labor. What happened to land and entrepreneur, we also assume is already in the production process there. So kita tak tulis, kita cuma letak penggunaan dua input sahaja, which is the capital and also the labor. Okay, so no worries, you akan faham nanti bila kita go further with the calculation. Alright, so how to produce more of the output here? We must increase input. So kalau lagi banyak capital kita guna, lagi banyak labor kita guna, kita boleh menghasilkan more output. So to increase more output, we must increase more input. Okay, so let's go for the next slide. Alright, so here the time range. Production can be in two time frame, which is the short run and the long run. So dia akan ada beza FQ KL. This is also FQ KL. In the long run, the difference is the K capital in the short run, dia ada hat. What does it mean by hat? Hat ni maksudnya fixed input. What is fixed? Fixed means that the input cannot change. It is static. The amount is the same. While L here refers to labor. Labor ni tak ada hat, meaning that it is variable, berubah-ubah, variable input. Okay, kenapa bila kita produce in short run time frame yang pendek, dia punya capital become fixed but labor is variable? Because in the short run there will be at least one fixed input with one or more variable input. Because a producer has a constraint there, they cannot change the land or factory size, but they can change the quantity of labor or raw material in the short run. Short run means that you are just starting doing business. So you have constraint in terms of money. You don't have much money. For example, saya baru nak start business buat goreng pisang. Of course, my first constraint is I don't have much modal to perform my business. So first of all, I have only 1,000 ringgit. Okay? So when I'm starting to do a business in the short run, I will not open branches yet. Saya takkan buka cawangan dulu. Saya mesti akan buka satu dulu and establish that business first, and after I gain my return and profit, then afterwards I will open up for branches. Okay? So before I gain my profit, I will focus only on one branch only. My main business, that's it. And another reason why I cannot open up branches because it is expensive. Okay? Bila you nak buka satu perniagaan, sewa tu dah mahal. Kalau you ada modal, for example RM1,000, normally sewa sahaja, sewa premis ataupun sewa kedai je dah 600 ataupun 700 ringgit per month. So for 1,000 you left with 400 or 300 ringgit je kalau bergantung pada kadar sewa lah. So this is left for you to buy the raw material and also for you to hire labor lah untuk bantu you buat bisnes tersebut. And raw material and labor is not as expensive as rent. So that's why capital ni adalah production aids kan. Tong gas, kedai awak semua tu, you cannot change in the short run because you have constraint of money, you don't have much money. Right? So yang you boleh rubah adalah labor. If for example kalau bisnes kecil-kecil lah macam bisnes goreng pisang ni, kita tak upah orang bayar gaji bulanan. Normally macam for example saya akan upah student dah habis SPM, saya bayar gaji hari. For example sehari RM20, RM30 ataupun RM40 depends on the task lah yang saya assign. Okay? And normally bila kita hire budak-budak ni, dia tak ada terikat dengan gaji minimum ke apa ke. We can hire them with with a lower amount of payment lah. Okay? So awal-awal hari pertama you nak start buat business, you takkan hire 10 orang terus bekerja. You nak test market dulu kan. Sebab bila you hire 10, kalau you upah RM50 seorang, dah 500 kos you kat sini. You ada 1,000 je. Macam mana you nak ambil duit lain? Nak ambil duit kat mana pula nak beli raw material? Tak, you tak akan upah 10 orang. So normally you akan upah either 1 ataupun 2 orang pekerja sahaja in the first place lah, for you to in order to conduct the business, either 1 worker or 2 worker. So kalau seorang 50, seorang bayar 50, baru 100 kat situ. You ada another left here kan. If for example the sewa is 600, you from 400 tu dia bayar 100 for labor, and another 300 you can spend to buy the raw material to produce goreng pisang. Okay? So that's why in terms of labor is variable, dia berubah-ubah. As time goes by, if you have more demand for goreng pisang, kedai goreng pisang awak dah laku dah berjaya, dah terkenal, permintaan makin tinggi, you akan hire another labor 3, 4, 5. So akan meningkatlah kos kat sini. And then of course after you have conduct one day, you akan ada dapat return kan. You boleh rolling baliklah modal untuk upah. Dia tak akan tertaluk pada 1,000 ni dah. Itu maksud saya, in the short run, your capital, which is the expensive one, especially the sewa and of course selain sewa, you kena beli benda lain lagi kan, kuali, tong gas semua tu. This is also expensive. You won't add more for that in the short run. While in the long run, look at the production function. There will be no head for the input there. Tak ada head kat sini. Head ni yang straight ni. Tak ada. Okay, so bila tak ada, meaning that both inputs are variable, berubah-ubah. Bila kita kata kita long run, meaning that we already establish our business, we are able to produce our business lah. Bukan are able to produce our business, we are able to sustain our business and we gain our profit, and now is the time for us to open up branches. Nak buka cawangan dah. Kedai goreng pisang dah glamour dah, kedai goreng pisang saya dah glamour dah terkenal dah. Okay, and then ada permintaan lebih lagi. Asalnya saya buka cawangan saya dalam UiTM, now I open up more branches kat Bandar Dungun pula, for example, and then satu lagi kat Chelija, for example. I open up more branches and I expand my business. Okay, so bila ada satu kedai kos dia 600 sewa kan, dua kedai kos dia for example sama 600 lagi, tiga kedai kos dia 600 lagi. So now this is all your capital. It's not the same lah, dia tak akan static lah. You akan ada satu kedai, dua kedai dan tiga kedai. So 3 branches means that your capital is variable, berubah-ubah. Variable means berubah, fixed, tetap. Now you are able to finance other branches. Of course, kedai pertama 5 pekerja, kedai kedua 5 pekerja, kedai ketiga 5 pekerja. In terms of the labor also variable depending on how many of them you hired. Okay, so there will be no fixed input, only variable input in the long run. Sebab both input here yang we assume we use is variable. Okay, land, labor, capital, entrepreneur, even though I already mentioned it to you, we use in production function land, labor and capital only. Tapi we assume land and entrepreneur is already there. We assume all those are variable, berubah-ubah dah. Firm are able to build up new factories or purchase new machinery. Okay, so contoh saya adalah bisnes goreng pisang kan, tak adalah machinery. Tapi if for example you buat bisnes besar-besaran, for example komputer, sekarang ni you ada 2 kilang komputer, you akan ada 2 mesin pembuat komputer and so on lah. Okay, so short run is a period of time during which at least one input is fixed and the quantity cannot be varied. So apa input yang fixed tu? Ia adalah capital. Yang variable adalah labor. You kena faham betul-betul ni sebab nanti nak calculation ni. Capital is fixed. Okay, and there is a law that will govern the production process in the short run. Ingat law ni dalam short run saja. Law of diminishing marginal return means that beyond certain time, additional output from each additional input, additional units of variable input will diminish. Apa tu tak faham? Tak apa, nanti kita belajar. Okay, so that's it for my first teaching video. I'll meet you for my second teaching video later.